Let's get some price picks in today, guys. Last night's YouTube picks did not go well. It's probably my worst night in probably over a month of YouTube videos. But this first slip was looking very good on this Charlotte and Orlando stack here. Everything was going under, super slow paced game. Brandon Miller was the only one that ended up going over his prop, and he was looking good to go under. Everyone was looking good, as you could see by the other three that did cash. But unfortunately, in the end, it was only 3 out of the 4 that ended up cashing in this Hornets versus Orlando game. Now for Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., see, I went for the under assist into Michael Porter Jr. under PRA. The opposite happened. And you're going to see in this next clip here, the opposite also happened. So Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. going for the unders, ended up going over. At the bottom here, you could see all chalk, but look closely. It's not just random picks I'm going with. I went for a Houston stack, right? So if Fred VanVleet's going over his assist or under his assist, obviously Jabari Smith is more likely to go over his points or under his points. In this case, I went with less, and you can see they all went more and more. That's because this game ended up being a higher pace matchup, a lot of points, and Jalen Green was absolutely popping off, as well as Jabari Smith. Everyone was doing well on this Houston team. It was just a good game for Houston, so they all went over their props. See if I went over, we had a 3-0 in that specific case. And then San Antonio Spurs, I went for a similar thing. The only one that went under in this case was Wemby, so he was kind of trailing behind the rest of the team. Trey Jones and Sohan both went over their props. So overall, not a good day, but you can see the power of stacking players from the same team. Just so happened to get the direction wrong on this Denver game and on this Houston game here. And then the San Antonio game was kind of a toss-up. So we're going to get onto the board for today. This is actually going to have 3 Detroit Pistons players, guys. We're going to start it off with Cade Cunningham on his over assist. And since we're grabbing Cade over assist, you could probably guess where I'm going with this. We're going with Jaden Ivey on his over 17.5 points, as well as Duren on his over 13.5 points. Take a look at the juice on both of these guys and just the games they were going with. Yes, it looks terrible, right? -10 spread towards the Pacers. But when there's a game versus Pacers, you get these higher pace matchups, 234.5 total. That's pretty decent, and that's a high enough total for both of those players to easily cash their over props. And it's only 17.5 points and 13.5, so it should be pretty easy there. Then if we go to the actual points props and check out the juice on both of them, we got Duren with juice towards that over at -120. We also got Ivy at 17.5 with juice towards that -120. So both these guys have juice towards their respective props. And if we check the assist on Cade Cunningham, I don't believe there was juice when I checked. Yeah, so 50-50 on him. But the reason we're grabbing his assist either way, even though there's not specific juice towards the over, is because both of these guys are pretty reliant on assists. So I'm talking about Duren and Ivy here. If we check Duren, 68.2% of his field goals made are assisted. Of course, he's not shooting threes or anything, but he gets those 2-pointers, which are heavily assisted. So about 70% of his points are assisted. And Cade obviously is that main assister on the team. And if we go to Jaden Ivey, about more than half of his field goal made are assisted, which is pretty decent. He is able to create more of his own shots. But if we check his 3-pointers, of course, 90% of those are going to be assisted. And there's a pretty decent chunk of his field goals made that are going to be from that 3-point line rather than that 2-point, about 40% of those. So I'm liking the fact that both these guys are pretty heavily assisted players. So we're going to go with Cade Cunningham on the over 7.5 assists, and then 2 players on their over 13.5 points. Hopefully Cade is assisting more than scoring this game, and you're going to see all 3 of these guys cash more easily than not. And obviously the one thing going against us is the spread at -10. If this ends up being a blowout, you're going to see less minutes for all these starters, which means it's not going to look too good for our overs. Hopefully they keep it a bit tighter than expected. So we're going with overs on all 3 Detroit players. Next, we're going over to this Boston Celtics game, -10.5 spread towards the Celtics, because Giannis is out tonight. A decent total here at 224. And we're going with 2 unders here on the Boston Celtics. First one is going to be the under on the rebounds for Jason Tatum. If you go and check his line here, he's set at 7.5. Slight juice towards the over. I don't think this is enough juice to have his line set at 8 on Prizepicks. Set at 8, he should be set at 7.5 easily. This is too high of a spot for him. We're definitely grabbing the under here. And the under we're going to stack with Jason Tatum on his under 8 rebounds is going to be Drew Holiday on his under 20.5 PRA. Now, I am going for a bit of a blowout script here. Drew Holiday is obviously not the main player scoring on this team. If it is a blowout, you're going to see more points from Tatum. You're going to see more points from Jaylen Brown. And then maybe Drew Holiday lagging a bit behind. And it's good because we also have that under on Jason Tatum rebounds. Like I just explained for this Detroit stack, minutes matter so much. And since these guys are both starters, if they're not getting those minutes because it is a blowout, and if Lillard is not able to carry the Bucks tonight, you're going to see both these guys go under due to their limited minutes. So hopefully Tatum and Brown are doing all the scoring tonight, get a nice early blowout, and maybe they get to rest the 4th quarter, looking very great for our slip. To end it off, we're going for a kind of similar concept, hoping for a blowout in this game. LA Clippers versus the Portland Trailblazers. Decently low total here and -12 spread, which means if it is a blowout and there is limited minutes, we're hoping that Kawhi here is getting the points and blowing out Portland, or maybe even James Harden, because we're going with Paul George on his under 35.5 PRA. If we check on the OddsJuice dashboard, we see that Paul George actually has juice towards his under 33.5 PRA over at -120, or about a 54.5% likeliness that he goes under that 33.5 PRA. Of course, if Harden and Kawhi are the ones getting a lot of the points and just carrying the team tonight, it's very easy for Paul George to go under. especially if they blow them out, because then Paul George is going to get less minutes. You could also see another good pick is Paul George under 3.5, 3 points made, so 55.16% likes that goes under. The reason I'm not taking that prop is because I just took it in a different entry, but that prop is also a good one to take. But, you know, if he gets under 3 points made, it's also likely he goes under PRA. That's an extra 9 points for his PRA. But anyways, you can see this is the full slip here, the triple stack on Detroit Pistons, double stack on Tatum and Drew Holiday, and then Paul George under PRA. Good luck, everyone.